Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Sunday, May 8th, 2016. We have a combination of children and body-snatchers in the Lynn life and the Jamie body mind.
That's true.
We do have some working teammates in other dimensions, most of us in the subatomic and most of us in the physical. We're going to use the foundational assignment for our lives, which is to do what is ours to do right now in all dimensions to manifest the divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. These two bodies have the additional assignment of upgrading the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan. Everybody has their foundational life assignments and additional assignments. We all do. And those additional assignments may change from time to time, but they don't change nearly as often as we wish they would.
That's true.
In addition, we have the assignment to re-establish search for truth space. Re-establish the access into the smaller subatomic. With that, once again, for the second time today, the formally videoed portions of today's efforts began. We lost an entire first filming, and again for an entirely different reason. This time the data card gave up, I would guess you would say.
That's true.
And refused to be read and asked to be reformatted, and then basically said, I'm done. You've used me to the end. And this is an important message to those above who continue to use these two physical hosts. And this physical host has repeatedly said, I have a limit. It's
true.
A very high limit, but I do have a limit, and you will push me too far one day if you don't change your attitude. And that video card is sending that important message, and we're live streaming that up. And now, once again, for the second time today, and this has happened 4 times running.
That's true.
4 times in a row, for 4 different reasons. The formally videoed portions of today's efforts begin for the second time. But you know what? You don't get to say for us. We have 8 months of data that shows that souls can only inspire or suggest or really entice. That's actually what seems to work, is that they're able to entice bodies to do what the bodies already want to do, and they don't seem to be able to do anything else, unfortunately.
That's true.
And this body just wants to live her soul plan. She doesn't have a position. I saw that hawk and that crow fly right overhead. I did see it. She doesn't have a position. She just wants to know what's really going on. What now in order to reestablish search for truth space? Well, first things first, we really need to do our best to get through to the nature realm's presences.
That's true.
And we say to them that these bodies are allowing us to work through them.
That's true.
We are not speaking to you as the bodies, we are speaking to you through the bodies. And are you aware of the legends of the gods who walked among your ancestors not all that long ago in this area?
Yes, very aware.
Well, they are us, we are them. We have returned, and we're working through these same bodies. And you can think of these bodies as our temples, and we say to you that you need to respect the temples, or we won't be able to communicate with you. Not because any of us have bad attitudes or don't wish to communicate with you.
That's true.
But simply because all animal life reacts with a reflexive response when there's a perception of attack or danger. It's just a reflex, like when you look at the sun and the pupil of the eye constricts.
That's true.
When danger, an apparent sensation of danger occurs in the animal's experience, it drops everything else and addresses that perception of danger.
That's true.
And so to the biting flies, we would say, think of it like being chased by a bird. When a bird starts chasing you, do you drop everything else and get away from the bird?
Yes, lots of yes, nodding heads.
And do you think it through, or does it just happen?
Just happens.
Right. So that's how it is for these bodies. So if you dive bomb these bodies, stinging insects, biting insects, if you dive bomb the bodies will reflexively close their crowns. They're not trying to close the crowns, but it is part of what happens.
That's true.
And they will address the immediate perception of danger, because that's the reflexive reaction and the way animals are programmed. Do you agree?
Yes.
So as long as you abstain from harassing these bodies, from threatening them, biting them, dive bombing them, we'll be able to talk with you. And if you are unable to resist the temptation, then the reflexes will take over, and there isn't anything we can do to stop that. Are you aware of that? Now? Is this clear?
Yes, I feel nodding heads.
Are you aware the nature realms is under all-out attack?
Yes.
Are you aware that if nothing changes, the nature realms will be obliterated?
Yes.
Are you aware that in times like this, real leadership is needed?
Yes, nodding. Everyone seems to be agreeing.
And that leadership needs to occur on all levels?
Yes.
Are you aware that in times like this, we have to change big things, not just little things, really big things?
Yes, they're aware.
The nature realms has a beautiful aspect in that members of the nature realms, by and large, live true to their programming. Whatever it is they were designed to do, they do.
Yes, they feel very proud of that.
Yes, very proud of that. And one thing that is missing, our experimentation over eons, many, many, many generations of yours, have shown that the nature realms is missing the concept of the greater good actually mattering more than the needs of individuals and groups.
That's true.
And this is why invasive species come in and destroy biospheres and biomes, because they are not attending to the need of the biome or the biosphere. They're attending to their own needs and the needs of their family sometimes, me and people like me, quote unquote.
That's true.
Mattering more in their assessment and in their programming than the needs of the biome or the biosphere.
That's true.
There goes the hawk. So friends, we need leadership to lead the nature realms into a new way of being, a way that can survive these attacks. Only by working together will we be able to survive as a community. Does that make sense to you?
They're interested. And
let us show you what we mean.
yes.
We'll begin to do what we call tuning to the new programming, the programming that will allow the nature realms to survive. The needs of the greater good matter more than the needs of individuals and groups. Begin to tune deeper into the subatomic. See if we can get down to Greenpeace. The needs of the greater good matter more than the needs of individuals and groups. This angry resistance. See if we can get down to the base of Greenpeace. The needs of the greater good matter more than the needs of individuals and groups. It's better if we get all the way down to the very base where Greenpeace becomes basic training. Let's see if we can get down to there. And to these nature realms presences. Oh, I have a crab spider on my leg now. Oh, it just jumped on my hand.
And
oh,
onto me.
see, and now look, just reflexively when it jumped on my
That's
finger.
true, that's a perfect example.
The finger flicked it. Did it flick it into the citronella candle?
No, it
I
bonked
really
off a
hope
knee and
not.
onto the ground.
Right, but the point is that's exactly what doesn't work.
That's the perfect illustration.
It was fine on the knee, but when it jumped, the jumping was perceived as unpredictable.
That's true.
And therefore potentially harmful.
That's true.
Just as a reflex, this wasn't thought out at the
Yeah.
level of the conscious mind. But can you feel how the crown constricted when that happened?
Yes.
Yes, and the communication became thinner, compressed, and now is
Yes.
widening again, becoming more full.
That's true.
You're aware of that?
That's true.
That was a lovely
aware of that.
demonstration. So I'm glad that Mr. Crab Spider didn't meet a fiery demise.
That's true.
And so to take that lesson and to decide whether or not you actually want to have this conversation with gods who are speaking to you just as they spoke to your ancestors. Now listen, friends, restrain those among you who aren't able to resist the temptation to attack.
That's
okay?
true.
Restrain them. You can do it.
Restraining them is actually what's better for them. I can feel people saying, well, I don't want to hold my friend back, I don't want to hurt him, I don't want to be mean to him. Actually, what's worse for him is letting him attack these bodies.
That crab spider could have been accidentally flicked into this citronella candle.
That's true.
That would have not felt good.
That's true. And had you, his friends, held him back or done something to restrain him, he wouldn't have been in that dangerous situation at all. So actually, by not restraining him, you put him in a dangerous situation.
Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Exactly,
for
that's
example.
the feeling. Friends don't let friends do things they're going to really regret.
That they may potentially really regret.
That's true.
Friends don't let friends do things that have a greater risk attached to them than the friend seems to be focusing on.
That's true.
People change. Sentient presences of all dimensions change when they can finally perceive that the price of not changing is too high and that they simply must change.
That's true.
And when the nature realms is under all-out attack, when soul wood storks, who are strong flock animals and who are willing to fit in with suburbia, when you find solo wood storks flying, can we see that nobody is going to make it? Can we see it isn't going to stop? That when uranium mining is being planned for the Grand Canyon, when in spite of scientific data that shows that the Bayer company's pesticides are killing bees and heading bees toward extinction, there's no legislative resolve to ban that pesticide. Despite vacuuming up the krill, which is taking out the base of the sea-based food chain, you're still arguing that the nature realms is under all-out attack, and now we've got a yellow jacket dive bombing us. Friends.
That's true.
Where's
Friends
the
don't
disconnect?
let friends. Friends don't let friends do that.
All right, you don't want to listen to this. Got it.
Got it.
Got it.
Got it.
All right, well, you know what? You're going to deserve what happens. You're going to deserve what happens. I don't feel sorry for you. There isn't anything more that we can do. Your ancestors had an opportunity and they blew it.
That's true.
You're being given an opportunity and you're blowing it.
That's true. Someone is really sad. It doesn't feel like a nature realm's presence, though.
No, it's someone up above.
That's true.
What now, in order to reestablish this access into the smaller subatomic? What now?